Hi, welcome to MindMat, and today I'm going to be going through some yoga asanas that are really helpful for cyclists. So I like to do a little bit of yoga before I get on my bike because that way I feel that I've warmed up, there's less risk of injury, and it just kind of wakes me up and gets everything moving, and it doesn't have to be too vigorous at all, but I think to be able to prepare your body before you get on a bicycle and start pedaling is really, really helpful. So if you'll join me for this short video for cyclists, preparation for getting on your bike, and we will start on all fours on the mat. Now, I do my exercises before I get on my bike. So I also do my yoga before I get on my bike. So I tend to have my cycle gear on rather than yoga gear on, so I don't have to change. So let's start on all fours. So we want our hands below our shoulders with our fingers spaced out a little bit and our knees underneath our hips. And we're going to start with a simple cat-cow. So at the moment I've got my toes flexed, and actually I like to do that and I like to feel a little bit of my toes first thing in the morning to just liven them up a little bit. So we're going to start with a flat back position, and then on an inhale we're going to drop the belly and we're going to raise our head and our chin. So big inhale, drop the belly, and on the exhale push away, belly button towards the spine, drop your head between your hands, really feel the skin stretch on your back here, and drop the belly again. Inhale, and just keep this moving and feel it out. What can you feel here as you start to move through your rib cage, dropping your belly through your spine, raising your chin. It feels really good just to wake up the body. And one more. And really this time, really feel it out. Feel as you drop that head, a little bit more stretch. And come back to a neutral position. Now take your left hand just a little bit further forward, and I want you to raise your right hand up to the sky, and then we're going to thread the needle and come underneath the left hand. So on an inhale, coming up, exhale, folding underneath, resting on your right ear, right shoulder if it's available to you. And feel that gentle twist in your body here. You can always find something in every asana. It should never be painful. So if anything feels uncomfortable, just come out of the asana, come out of the position. And come back gently to a neutral spine. If you're starting exercise first thing in the morning like I am today, be very gentle and kind with yourself. And inhale, raise your left hand. And thread the needle under, coming onto your left shoulder and your left ear. You might need to make some adjustments here. Use your right hand to help support yourself. And feel that yummy stretch through your spine. You don't have to be static. If you want a little bit of movement and a wiggle in your bottom, just go ahead. We don't want any yoga statues. We're living, breathing, moving creatures. Now with the help of your right hand to bring yourself up a little off your mat, coming up. And back to a neutral position. Now we're going to take the hands a little further forward towards the front of the mat, as we're going to have a nice stretch through the shoulders. When you're cycling, especially if you've got a road bike like me, you do feel it in your shoulders if you're not careful. Okay, so now we're in this position here, yogi's choice or cyclist choice. You can uncurl the toes if you like, or you can keep them curled. And I want you to come back slowly so that your bottom is coming towards your heels. And feel that stretch as you come down with your forehead to the mat. And just feel it out here. What little nooks and crannies can you find in your body? You might want to explore with flexing the toes. Does it feel different when you flex the toes? Can you feel into those toes, get a little bit more of a stretch? You don't have to take your bottom right the way back to your heels. Now let's just move gently backwards and forwards here. We're coming over the hands and forward and gently back. Try and connect to your breath. Nice deep breaths. And bringing the hands and the body back to neutral, and again the hands underneath the shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Now we're going to take our leg up in the air, okay, and have a little bit of stretch through the hips here, upwards. So starting with the left foot, I'm going to take the knee up and back and just little pulses here, pushing out of your hands to your shoulders as you do so. And you should feel this down the back of your hamstring, into your glute. And just feel that little, you're starting at the beginning of the day, everything's waking up. And release, and go to the other side. And same with this leg, try not to collapse down into your hands and your shoulders, and just little pulses. You certainly know if you're tight here because you'll feel it in the back of your leg and your thigh. And relax. It's great to do some asanas that help with relaxing and moving the piriformis, activating your glutes, which you have to do when you do this, and also your hamstrings. Okay, now we're here. What we're going to do is to take our left leg back in a straight stretch onto our toes, and now we're just going to come forward and backwards over our wrists. And feel that out through the back of your thigh. Just try and work out what's going on in your body. Sometimes we're so detached, we want them to operate like machines. But what does it feel like to really stretch on that toe? What's it feel like to really stretch back into the full stretch of that leg? And now we're going to bring the same leg forward so our foot is between our hands. Now you might need to move your hand slightly and come a little bit to the side if you're unfamiliar with this. So bring the leg forward and place it here. And now take the other knee back just a little bit so you've got a nice stretch. Come light onto your fingertips. Just looking down at my legs now, I'm thinking, well, I probably should have shaved my legs before I've done this video, but hopefully your eyesight's quite poor. So open the chest just a little here, raise the chin, and can you feel this stretch here? Just again, gentle little pulses through this stretch. And then we're going to bring you, again, you can have your foot flat if you like, or you can keep your toes flexed. You're going to bring your head down towards your knee as you bring your bottom back towards your right heel. So head comes down towards the knee, flex the toes up towards the head. Now you may have quite a bend in your knee, that's fine, or you, depending on your flexibility, you may be able to come back a little further. Make sure you're on a wide track here, you're not too narrow, okay, so that you're on 2 lanes, not 1. And just lower the head, just feel this through the back of that thigh. It will probably feel here, coming up into your glutes. And come back again and light onto the fingers. Now we're going to bring this knee back. Again, depending on your flexibility, you may be able to bring it straight back. You might need to come a little bit onto your right hand and bring your knee back like that, that's fine. Now we'll stretch out the right leg and we're going to move backwards and forwards over our wrists and feel that really lovely, yummy stretch through the toes, through the foot, And also at the same time, we're coming back over our wrists, forwards and backwards, which means we're exercising those wrists a little bit. We're strengthening our wrists. And feel it out. What does that feel like as you really press the toes? And we're going to bring the leg up between our hands. So again, you might want to put a little bit more weight into your left hand now to bring this leg up. And once we're up here, stretch back a little bit with this thigh. Come light onto the fingertips. Feel this stretch here as you're opening through your hip joints. You're loosening up all the fascia and everything that's holding this whole pelvic area in place, and you're getting it ready for when you're on your bike and you're pedaling away. Okay, fingers back to the mat. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to bring our bottom back towards our heel and our foot up towards our head and our head towards our knee. And just feel, again, the stretch. Where do you feel it now? Now this side might be very different to the other side, and that would be perfectly normal. Maybe stretch the toes a little bit more towards the head. Does that increase that stretch in the back of the leg? But don't cause yourself any pain. And coming back. Open the chest, light on the fingertips, raise the chin a little. And get ready to bring this knee back underneath your body to the mat. And we're now going to come on to our backs. So coming onto our backs to do a reclined pigeon. I love this. This is a great stretch for me, so I quite adore it. I don't know whether you will feel the same. Lower yourself very carefully to the mat. I'm going to start off by bending both of the feet, both of the knees, so that your feet are coming towards your buttocks. And then you're going to bring your left leg up and cross it over so that you have just behind your ankle is sitting just below your knee. And then once you're here, thread your hands between your thighs as you lift your right leg up. So you're clasping your hand behind your thigh. Now here, this might be enough of a stretch and you can feel it. And I'd like you to feel it down the outside of this left thigh here. So once we're comfortable, you might want to bring your right thigh a little closer to your body, so you can use your hands to do this. And this will increase the stretch. You will feel it. And again, like gentle pulses, don't do one big yank, because injury doesn't serve us at all. We'll all have a very different edge. And for me, this is first thing in the morning, so I'm of a certain age, so I'm stiff as a board. So you have to be gentle with yourself. You can increase the stretch here if you want to use your left elbow to push a little bit against your left thigh. But again, caution here, don't cause any pain. But explore it. Explore what you can feel and what you can take, and how you're going to increase the blood flow, increase your flexibility, and generally warm yourself up before you cycle, so you're less likely to have any injury. And gently lower your legs back to a neutral position. Bring both knees up in your hands and just have a little roll around here on the back of your seat bones, on your pelvis, just side to side. It's a little booty massage. And lower the legs, and let's go to the other side. So you're going to cross your right leg with your ankle over and below your left knee. Thread your hands through between your thighs, grasp your thigh, and then once you're here, gentle pulses as you bring your left thigh closer to your body. Now this side to me feels a lot tighter, so I'm going to be a little bit gentle on myself. I know how I tend to have a little bit of tightness on this side, so that doesn't come as a surprise. And then again, if you want to, you can use your right elbow gently on the inner part of your right thigh, just to increase that opening in your hip. And bring the legs back to the mat. Just bring both feet wide, and we're going to just do what we call kind of wipers or windscreen wipers. We let the knees go a little to the right, like windscreen wipers, and a little to the left. And you'll still feel here maybe one side's a little tighter than the other. Just a few more of these. And coming back to a neutral position. Crossing your ankles, and while your ankles are crossed, I want you to roll your knees back towards your head so that you can then come forward to sit up towards the front of your mat. So coming back and gently forwards to the front of the mat. Now once you're here, take your feet so that you have the soles of your feet touching. So your heels, the sole of your foot, your heels, the ball of your foot and your toes are touching. And once you're in this position, just straighten the spine a little, lift the chest slightly, make sure you're not holding your shoulders up here, and take your hands to your knees and keeping the head and neck quite nice and straight here. Just very gentle pulses here with your knees, so that you're working into these hip joints. You know, when we're cycling, those old hip joints, they take quite a bit of battering, don't they? So just making sure that they're loose. That it's like getting the can of oil and oiling them a little bit can be really helpful for you start your routine for the day. So very, very gently. Raise the chest, make sure you drop your shoulders back and down, and coming to stillness, and pop the legs out in front of you. I'm just going to maneuver myself back a little bit on my mat here. So keeping your right leg out straight in front of you, just feel a little bit of engagement in the toes, give them a little bit of wiggle. Now, all of our bodies are different, so we're not always going to make the same shape because, if you haven't noticed, there's a very big scar on my leg. Because this has got a lot of metal in it, it never makes exactly the same shape as the other leg, and so the knee is slightly compromised. But, you know, the great thing about yoga is that you can work with what you've got, and that's really, really important. Just never make sure you never cause yourself any harm. It should never be any pain. You should never push yourself beyond what you're capable of. So we're keeping the right leg out straight, and we're bending the left knee, and we're bringing the foot to the outside of the right knee. So it should look a little bit like this. Now, once we're in this position, we're going to hold to start with just your left knee with your left hand, and with a big inhale, stretching your right arm up in the air, and as you exhale, twist and bring it to the outside of that knee and pop the other hand behind you. Another big inhale, and if you want to, you can look over your left shoulder. So you have a spinal twist here. You're again making sure that you cause no pain or no stress or injury. If it's too much, come back from it, and maybe you just settle for this, and maybe you just turn a little and look over your left shoulder. So make it what you need to make it for you. So let's go to the other side. Left leg out straight, bend up the right knee, place your right ankle on the outside of your left knee, and you can steady your knee with this if you like. Try and stretch up nice and tall, and on an inhale we're going to stretch up and bring the elbow to the outside of your right knee and your right hand behind you. So a big inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, twist. Try and keep the spine long and coming back to a neutral spine. Okay, swinging the legs round to the side here, coming onto all fours, and now we're going to come up into a downward dog and then into lizard. So starting with a flat back position on all fours, toes curled under and coming up into downward dog. And once you're in downward dog, pedal away as if you were on your bike. Okay, you can make it as freaky as you like. I like to look under one arm and then look under the other arm. Bringing your belly button towards the spine, your hips uppermost, dropping your head down between your hands. Nice straight neck, and if you find it too much on the fingers, you can go onto your fists here, or if you want to and it's too much, use some yoga blocks. So we're going to come into a lizard, which is going to open our hips a little more. Now, if you start to come into this position and it just feels too much, come back off of it and watch maybe for this one, and it's okay to leave it out. We don't have to do everything. So you're going to bring your right hand just a little bit closer to the centre, and you're bringing your right leg on the outside of your right hand. Okay, now make sure you're on 2 tracks, not on one. So you've definitely got a track on your left leg and a track with your right leg, coming up onto your fingertips here. And now once you're in lizard, a nice flat back, you can just move just a little bit backwards and forwards, turning the toes of the right foot out a little. Then you can feel into that hip joint. Now, if you are a yoga regular, then you'll know that you can come down here onto your elbows to really come into that right hip joint. But it's first thing in the morning for me, so I wouldn't be probably engaging in this. I would just be letting my right knee come out a little, maybe coming onto the edge of my right foot just for a bit and then coming back flat again. Now coming back, you should be able to come back into downward dog, but if that's a problem, drop your left knee and come back that way. So just make sure you're pushing out of your shoulder blades. Keep this leg nice and straight into the feeling in your toes, and bring that leg back and back into downward dog. Pedal out again. Sure the fingers are wide, you can feel the little pads of your fingers like you're making your hands in little spiders. Come to stillness. This time you might want to bring your left hand just a little bit closer to the centre and bring your left foot up to the outside of your left hand. That was a bit clunky there. Shows you it's first thing in the morning. Okay, now feel backwards and forwards a little in this position. Try and keep a nice straight head and neck. It's a bit more difficult for me because, I'm thinking about talking to you, but if you imagine a straight line through your spine here, again, if you want a little bit more in that left hip, then turn the toes out a little bit more and maybe come onto the outside of your left foot. Again, if you want to have more and it's available, don't do it if it's not. Come down onto the elbows and then you really feel it through this hip joint here. And when you're ready, making sure that you're pushing into these toes so that you can come backwards with ease and lift this leg, bring it back into downward dog. And slowly we'll come to our knees and swing our legs to the side so that we can come back to a seated position. Okay, so there are various exercises and we call those asanas in yoga, positions that you can do that are really helpful for cycling, working very much on the hips and on the spine or the lower back today, but there are also some really great asanas for head and neck, and I know that I have a very long neck, and actually although it might look quite nice at times, it can be a real pain in the backside. And certainly in cycling, I know sometimes because my glasses drop down too far and then I'm looking up like this, it gets tense in my neck. So I'll make sure that I do a video for neck and shoulders as well. Anyway, I'm going to go and check the tyres on my bike. Sadly, the sun's now gone in. So, but what can you do? It's dry, and I'm going to go off for a little pedal. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you, hopefully, back on the mat.